But it's all good. See, because that's what life is about. Life is about merging. People want to merge. People want to have sex. No matter how old, people want to have sex. It's just such a base thing. It's because we're all longing for that unity, that oneness. My mind's exploding because just reading so much recently, and I love the Dogons. The Dogons are Africans, northwest Mali. And they're from a region where they haven't been touched by the outside world that much. Their original culture, language, thoughts, spirituality, customs, it's still intact. And they know things about the stars and the universe that scientists have just started to learn in the past 50 years. They've been knowing about this. They have drawings, they have drawings and scientific oratory stories about creation and cosmology, and I'm talking about specific. I'm talking about quasars and what specific atoms look like and what they look like from different perspectives when you turn them around like this or that. I'm talking about the orbit of certain stars in Orion's belt, Sirius, and the stars that orbit Sirius that no microscope could detect. Since ever. Until recently, they could start to detect these things. But the Dogons have drawings and will tell you about it. They've known about it for years. Look it up. So scientists go down there to study them. And the thing is, get this, you can read about it. Sometimes they'll tell stories, ridiculous stories to the scientists who come there to study them. They'll tell them the most ridiculous stories about the origins of creation, just to mess with their heads, just so they can write it in their little books. They'll only tell the truth to the people that they really trust. And it sometimes takes some time to really build up their trust. There's a few YouTubes, but you gotta find someone who's really legitimate. I will say I really like Stratton is his last name. Laird Stratton, Stranton. Basically, my point was, what I was getting to is that they say when it comes to sexuality that we're born androgynous. We're born both male and female. And they circumcise you. They circumcise the male because the foreskin of the male is the feminine, and they want to get rid of the feminine. They circumcise the females because the clitoris is male. It's on the outside, phallic-like. And so they cut that off so that the female can be all the way female. That's what the circumcision is for. Still mind-blowing, deep conversation needs to be had still. Trying my best to wrap my head around it because I love the Dogon so much, but when I heard about the circumcision of the females, it broke my heart because I always felt that has to do with a patriarchal society that has gotten out of control and is trying to suppress women and their sexuality and their pleasure and their joys of life, and to keep a hold, a harness, so that they won't stray because they enjoy sex. And then recently I started trying to wrap my mind around the fact that some cultures Perhaps they don't want you to focus on sexuality. They want your purpose to be raised from the lower chakras to the higher. And that's the reason. But the thing is, men, just because you remove their foreskin, they still have tons of pleasure. But the female, and I guess we'd have to ask circumcised females, it's called excised. Men are circumcised, women are excised. Interesting, excised. We'll have to ask a female who's been circumcised. Oh gosh, do you still feel pleasure? Are you able to have a vaginal orgasm? But they even say vaginal orgasms a lot of time have to do still with the clitoris being stimulated on some level. So if all that is removed, is there pleasure? And perhaps that's not what life's about. Perhaps I'm sitting here with crazy hair in my little loft by myself because I enjoyed my clitoris too much. Maybe it should have been removed. Maybe. And that's a terrible statement, but I'm just saying, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to wrap my head around everything that I don't understand. I want to understand. I want to get it. And I really respect the Dogon so much. So I want to understand that, because I think if I could understand the reasoning and the rationale, I could understand quite a few other things. So something about before we got here, life is duplistic. As above, below, there's always two of everything. The outer that you can see, the inner that you can't see, the physical and the metaphysical, the beyond. Every time a universe is formed and there's another universe, the dual universe that is formed simultaneously, there's always two, whether you can see it or not. The male and the female. And I'm sorry that I'm being slow right now, but I guess I'm trying to figure it out actually as I speak to you. I'm trying to figure it out. Let's say the Big Bang Theory. That poof of an explosion and the outward going of all that energy is very male. But the container for all of it, the black space, the whole, the ethers of nothingness, just the black space that explosion could occur. Whether you believe in the Big Bang Theory or not, think of fireworks, outward explosion, phallic going, but it has to go out in something, and it goes out and spreads itself here in our atmosphere. But back to space, because we're being bigger, that's what we're talking about. Energy goes out to form a planet, but the container is the female, the womb, the yin, the outer is the yang. So that's two in itself right there. That's how the universe is formed. Let's say God is what created God is the explosion. God is that. I want to make sure that I don't block religions out from listening to me because they say, oh, you ain't talking about God, or I want to make sure you know it's all God. From my perspective, it's so much God, I'm overwhelmed with God. I'm overwhelmed with God. With how much God is in this conversation. Gratitude, gratitude. So the universe is about that duality, and when we get here on Earth, we're missing the other side. We're missing what we can't see. We're the physical, but there's a beyond physical mirror of us. Each of us has an individual, perhaps physical, there's an invisible connection with something that we can't see, but we can see. We can feel, I believe. And sometimes it does show through the abundance of synchronicities and animals acting weird and just things, just too many coinky dinks happening. Or people say something, or you read something, or numbers, or colors, or just different ways that it comes through. So there's an invisible counterpart, but also to this whole earth, the microcosm and the macrocosm, this whole earth, there's a counterpart. There's always duality. There's always two. When you come to Earth, you're missing that other, the other part of you. But the Dogon say you're born androgynous. You're both male and female. So they cut off the male part of the female so she could be all the way female. And it cuts off the female part of the male, the foreskin. For some reason they say foreskin is feminine. I want to know why. I'm not sure. I need the answer to that too. I will keep researching. And my thoughts are always, I have a hard time believing that there are any mistakes and that God or the universe made any mistakes on these babies that come out of the womb, and that we need to cut off a part of their body. It's hard for me to grasp that. But there's this other culture that I respect so much that knows things scientifically that are beyond, it's not even science, it's beyond science. They know things, and so I respect them so much. Why do they want to circumcise? What's the real reason? I'm always told for every spiritual practice that I start dissecting that I dissect too much. And there is truth in it. You just got to believe, and you have to know, and you have to have faith. And I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say this. Any spirituality that you wholeheartedly believe in with your heart, any religion that you believe in with your heart, it works. It's going to work. Because it's heart consciousness, it's Christ consciousness, it's Buddha consciousness, it's Allah consciousness, it's Yahweh's consciousness, it's Aludumare's consciousness. But you get the point. It's cheap. I already said Jesus consciousness, Christ consciousness. It's all of that. So these brilliant people, is it that we become too focused on sex, and the females are really gatekeepers, and so we can't get focused on sex with the men because then it's just complete chaos? And maybe that's one of the challenges of the United States. It's so wonderful here, all the things that we have and the gifts. And you really can do a lot of whatever you want. But maybe we're too focused on the base levels of sex and not the magic of sex and the power of sex. And perhaps that's what the Dogon's ritual is for in the very beginning. To just make sure people are focused on the high. At least that's the intention. The intention, or is there really something physically that they studied? That energy of that foreskin and that energy of that clitoral region is so powerful that it pulls you away from your highest self and from aligning. It's been studied, or nah, you can align and still be good, or I don't know, but I'm just saying I'm humbled enough to not say, oh, everything's crazy. Oh, that culture's crazy and they crazy and they crazy. I want to know, because the Dogon have inspired me for years. Please study their science and their knowledge. It's inspired me for years. But again, hearing about the female excision, sounds like exorcism, excision, circumcision, excision. I'll edit all that, okay? The female excision, sounds smart now. Female excision, damn. Ego got involved, I lost my train of thought. That's what happens. Oh. Basically, I'm learning to be quiet and just ask and to learn. We need to learn from one another. And maybe it's a balancing act. Maybe we need to take from the intention of their culture, but they need to take from some of the pleasure of our culture. Maybe we all need to share from one another, or maybe I'm way off track and I need to get off the sex thing in the first place. But I think it's important because fundamentally that ties us all together. Love ties us all together, but people are thinking about sex and food. Food and sex. Security, money, security. It's food. Taking care of a shelter, roof over their head, food and sex. That's base. And that's the deepness of just understanding the chakras right now. The first chakra at the very bottom of you is your root chakra. That's your security needs, just the basic fundamental security needs: food, water, shelter. You need that or you won't survive if you don't get that. Next, you go a little bit higher and a little bit more, and it's sex, sexual energy. I mean, that's the only way we can procreate and keep populating in the first place. Sexual energy, it pulls. It's huge. It's here at the very beginning, the root of us. It's down here. Sex is magnetism. It's magnetism, and it will always be here so we can populate. Reproduce. It's so necessary. Okay. And then, oh no, I'm losing my light. It's the magnetism, and it's what pulls us all together. And you just keep going up, from solar plexus to your heart, love, throat, gut express, third eye, crown. Oh, it's just coming through. All important, but at the bottom, the lower, we're talking about root, and we're talking about sex. That's how this keeps going. What's the word? fecundity? Fecundity, I think is the word. Fecundant? I don't know. Google it. So, starting to think about the fact that sex is such a base part of our nature, and it's a beautiful thing, good and bad. It's no bad, no good. It's just, it is. It's necessary. And so I'm thinking about sex. I'm thinking about sexuality and the magnetism and how it all pulls. And I have to say, I have to go back to one of the most transcendent moments of my life, and that's in Peru. No electricity, no internet. I say it over and over again because it's just powerful. There's nothing there but you and spirit. Out deep in the rainforest. Deep in the rainforest. Just the energy of the plants and the trees. And you're listening. Finally listening. Quiet. No distractions. No sugar. No salt. Just you. Just you. Just you and the beloved. Just you and the beloved. And in one of those transcendent moments out there, please hear from the depths of my being what I mean. I felt the power of our wombs. I felt the power that's inside all of us as women, the magnetism, the dark hole of creativity, the dark hole of bliss, the womb of existence, home, love, the ocean, the abyss, outer space, where creation begins. Felt it in my vagina, in my womb, deep, and I could feel where we as women can pull, can literally pull men, the yang energy right to us. It is their goal to get in, and it is our goal to receive. In that moment, out there, that transcendent moment, I wanted to take in. On some metaphysical level, but sometimes almost a physical level, I wanted to take in all the men, to heal them, to give to them. And so they could pour into me all of their greatness. Literally, figuratively, metaphysically, in all ways, just pour. Let's pour into each other and let me encompass you and hug you and receive you. I felt the magnet, the pure pull and the power beyond belief. Power. So powerful we are. We don't need a type of hair, body, or designed face. Our type of beauty can't be created or replaced. What we have is the future, the present, and the past. There's so much power kundalini from our ass. We don't need a type of hair, body, or designed face. Our type of beauty can't be created or replaced. What we have is the future, the present, and the past. There's so much power kundalini from your ass. So powerful. Life is so magical. What's really going on is so magical. It's so magical. So magical. So it brings me to a heavy story real quick, but it's important. That's the thing, that's the beauty of all these things that happen to us, bad per se, things that may happen. Just get the lesson, there's a lesson. If you get the lesson, then you can heal. Get the lesson and then you can move on. That's the secret. And it's all happening so that you can do alchemy on your soul to get better and better and better and shine and be gold. That's what all the traumas are for. They're damn near a gift, but don't ask for them. Don't do that. So I was a young whippersnapper in Hollywood, doing my thing, ambitious. And the truth is, I can't even lie like I was that young. It wasn't that long ago, okay? So I was a grown-ass woman. I know better on a lot of things. But I meet a star. He's a star. And he's taking me out and all the best restaurants and dinners and we're having meetings with executives and doing this and doing that. He's a star. And you know, it was okay. Some days he'd say, shut the fuck up and just be pretty. Don't talk. Okay. You're a star. You're a star. I can shut up. I can shut up. I don't need to talk so much. Matter of fact, I've been thinking I talk too much. My throat was hurting because I talk too damn much. I don't need to talk so much. Why am I talking? Let me shut up. You do you. Use the star. I think on some level, I was trying to be put on the scene. I want that money. I want those riches. I want it all. I'll play the game. I'll play the game. And the thing is, I knew better. I knew better. And the truth is, we didn't have good conversation. I couldn't really connect to him on a soul level. And if you can't really connect to somebody on a soul level and really converse, you don't have any business being with them. And I knew that. But I was out for gain. But I felt like it wasn't just for me, it was for my team, my family, friends. We gotta get this. But still, I knew better. I knew better. In my heart, if I would have listened to my heart, if I would really listen to my heart, I knew better. And so I remember the night vividly, of course. And the thing was, I had considered giving it up that night. I had considered actually having sex with this person that I don't really like. But he had waited a good year. It's ridiculous. Okay, maybe. Why not? I have on the dress he wants me to wear this night. The limo comes and picks me up. Takes me to the fancy restaurant. As soon as I sit down, he's so nervous. I can't even sit down, really. He's nervous. He's acting weird. He's never been a good actor. Literally. And he's asking the bartender, the waiter, he's like, so, she wants a drink. She wants a drink now. She wants a drink. What would you like, ma'am? What would you like? I tell the waiter, star. It's like just weird. I didn't put two and two together. I didn't get it. Basically, I'm sure he said, this is the time. This is the one. What I gave you, put it in. Put it in the drink. About 45 minutes later, we're in the limo. And he's ultra affectionate, the star. Way more affectionate than he ever is. I think he had some too. So he's all over me. Oh, just so lovey-dovey. And something comes over me. And I'm all over him. Like ridiculous. I had one drink. Granted, I can have a good time in life, but not one drink. It does not do that to me. Not what was coming over me. Not this. And it was so intense what was coming over me that anybody in eyesight I wanted. So the star, as well as the limo driver up front, as well as the star's manager, who was right there in the back with us. Those were the two that I could get to, the star and the manager. And I remember this high is on me big time. The star's making out with me. I remember opening up my legs and looking at his manager, his lawyer manager, and saying, come here. Pointing to my vagina, like, get in, all of you, get in. The star quickly notices what's going on. I was like, oh, no, lawyer, oh, no, you don't. I've waited a good year, I paid good money, I worked on this, nope, get out. He puts his lawyer out on the street, right in the middle of West Hollywood, right in the middle, just throws him out. We go back to his place. And we have sex for hours. When I say hours, I mean I rode him for hours. I did some research years later, because I didn't know at the time. I thought I just got a little wild and out of control, but I never understood. And I bragged to my friends about it, like, oh, what a wild night, and I was so out of control, and oh. But the truth is, things didn't sit right. Things didn't sit right. And years later, after learning and reading and doing drugs in the future, but this time knowingly, consciously doing drugs. I knew what the feeling was. And I knew the after effects the next day. I remembered, I was like, oh. And I remembered his look at the waiter. I remember it all. The way he acted after, just everything. It all made so much more sense. It's so mixed because there's a part of you that's so hurt and upset that my voice didn't get heard in the matter, and I didn't make the decision for myself and consciously have sex. And that someone, I think what really bothers me, honestly, is that someone would have the audacity to not care enough about my soul to just say, I'm going to do whatever I want, and whatever happens, happens. That pisses me off. But I'm kind of over it, and there's a part of me that I know where I was wrong. I shouldn't have been anywhere near him. Gotta listen to my heart. I'm not too mad at myself either, because I feel like it all happened for a reason. I was trying to listen to my heart. I spent a lot of years trying to listen to my heart, but you're also trying to succeed, and you're just trying to win. Just trying to win sometimes. Win at a game that is false. Capitalism, commercialism, fame. But really, just that pure material is actually not what really matters. What matters is that energy in between everything. That's what really life is about, the feel, the energy of everything. We're so caught on money. We're not really feeling what life is really about, but we can't break free. Our mortgages, our car payments, our tuitions, everything's dependent on it. Our sex life, everything's tied in. Watching TV, being able to buy that wine, everything's money. You can't escape it. Chasing the illusion. Getting raped because I'm chasing an illusion. Don't chase illusions, girls. Don't chase the illusion. Let's learn what it's really about. What life is really about. Can we get free? Can we get free together? I feel like it's very possible. I feel like it's already happening now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. So the other part, we got to continue with this because it's just great information. It's a great case study. Part of me was not mad. I wanted to know what he gave me. What made me act like that? It was reminiscent of my recent ayahuasca, of just being open and free from chains. But I was in the wrong environment. Can't have someone give you a drug like that you can't trust, that makes you open to the world, makes you free from all the boundaries and chains, and you just Can't be around the wrong people when you like, not someone that's going to take advantage of the delicacy of our souls. So delicate, but so strong. So strong. So strong. I'm not sure what the exact drug was, but it feels like it was probably some MDMA hybrid, some high-end good stuff that only Star can buy. Yeah. And so the question becomes, that person that I became in that limo that wanted everybody, is that my truth? Was that the drug acting on some receptor, some sexual pleasure, inhibitionless receptor, pleasure receptor, sensual receptor? Or was it expressing the truth, letting my boundaries go down, my inhibitions go down, and expressed who I truly am, and what I really want, what my nature really on the inside is? Or C, is that everyone? Is that everyone in the world? Are we all that primal and carnal and just want it? Everybody, we just want to merge and feel that oneness and come together. Stars colliding, we need it. To feel that oneness that we once had when everything was one. When everything was one. And we're just longing for it on a physical level. So we come together through sex because we can't figure out what else to do with what we feel. Or is that just really what we are and what we should be doing? Or is that just really who I am and what I should be doing? I don't know. And therefore, is it okay to just love sexuality and sensuality? Is it okay to just enjoy the beauty of the bodies? The beauty of the swirl of the hips, clockwise, counterclockwise, mirroring the orbits of the planet. That's what all that movement's all about. We're mirroring the movements of the planets. We're paralleling it. We've been craving going around and around and inside and exploding and receiving and giving. And it's just our nature. We're mirroring the above as above below. The swirl, the merging, the explosions, all of it. The micro, the macro, the physical of the meta. Or perhaps We need to focus on something higher. It will just keep pulling us. The gravitational pull of sexuality is so strong because of the spheres of life, as above, below. We'll just keep getting pulled towards sex unless we're able to reprogram the wiring, which is tough because it's wired in deeply. Is that why the Dogon circumcise? Is that why they circumcise the men and the women to stop them from wanting pleasure? Because it's just such a pull to help stop the pull so that we could focus on something higher? Or it's for a whole other reason that my mind can't even fathom yet. I'm not even close. I'm not even close, probably. I'm not sure. It's crazy. I have quite a few sexual trauma stories that I can tell and I can share, and I feel like it's weird because then I'm shaking my ass and showing my booty. I think it's empowering. I do. And the thing is, I don't do it for you. I do it for me. It feels so good and it sets my soul free. I just like to follow my bliss. But follow your bliss. Show me how you do it. Show me how you do it. Maybe. We swivel our hips, the whole twerking, all that movement, that gyration of the kundalini. It's just mirroring the vibrations of the universe and the world. It's just mirroring it all. And that's why it literally to orgasm, to twerk, to swirl your hips, to just dance, to all of it. It feels so good. The vibration of life. The point of it all was we're so powerful. And let's learn some more. I think we have a lot to learn, a lot to share, a lot to learn from one another. So much to do. I guess my point of all is let's share with one another. So much to learn, so much to grow. So much to grow. So much room to grow. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. It's a lot to study. Like, sometimes I'm so bored with life. I'm like, is that all life is? Really? And then recently I've been studying all this new stuff. I'm like, this is what life is. This is what life is about.